Why play Gragas top? Well, he has amazing sustain, he scales brilliantly with items, he is a beast in a teamfight, and his lockdown is incredibly annoying. However, his engage is fairly predictable and easy to respond to, and in the early game he does have high mana costs and long cooldowns. Gragas' passive is periodically, after casting an ability, he heals himself for a chunk of his health. His Q rolls out a circle on the floor for 4 seconds which grants sight of the area. Over the first 2 seconds, the damage and slow increases. After 4 seconds, or when it's reactivated, the circle explodes, dealing damage to enemies within and slowing them. Gragas' W channels him for a short amount of time where he gains damage reduction for 2.5 seconds. This then empowers his next auto attack to have bonus range and deal bonus magic damage to the target and nearby enemies. Gragas' E is a straight line dash which stops upon colliding with an enemy. Enemies hit are dealt damage, knocked back and stunned. And if this hits an enemy, the cooldown is reduced by 40%. Gragas' ultimate is a skill shot which deals damage in a large circle where it lands. It deals damage to all enemies hit and knocks them back a large distance away from the center. For combos, start W and then use your Q into your E. Attack away and then detonate your Q as late as possible for maximum damage. And your fun combo is to use W and throw out your Q into an area. Engage with E into your empowered attack and then ult them onto your barrel. And if it's under tower, even better. For matchups, Gragas is great into squishier top laners who he can simply delete as the game goes on. And he can struggle against the truly tanky top laners who can easily absorb his pressure. For runes, take this. Phase Rush makes him feel obnoxious. For build order, start a ring and pot and get an early tier before getting a Cosmic Drive and tier 2 boots. After this, complete your Fimbulwinter and get a Zhonya's before finishing a build with any of these as needed. This build is a pretty good AP Bruiser build, but he does also have this build. This build brings a ton more damage and it's great if you're against a very squishy enemy team. For skill order, start Q then E then W before maxing Q then E then W, taking ult whenever you can. For summoner spells, take Flash and Teleport. Starting the game, you're not the strongest champion. You have high mana costs and long cooldowns, so you want to mainly focus on farming and getting experience to get your first few components. While farming, thankfully your W is much cheaper than your other abilities and it gives you great sustain using this to proc your passive. Q at this point in the game has a very high mana cost of 80 mana, which makes it very expensive to poke with. However, if you can definitely land it, it's still a great way to proc your mana flow. However, once you get your first back and you've got your tier and you've got a few points in Q, this becomes a great ability, where you can start throwing it at your opponent over and over again to deal great damage and zone them from areas. Once you hit level 6, your kill pressure is pretty good, and your ultimate and E gives you very easy gank setup if your jungler does want to go top. Entering the mid game, you want to take your tower as soon as possible. Push out your lane as far as you can safely, then group up with your team. You want to be with them looking for fights. Entering late game team fights, play as your teams engage. Drink up with W before Eing into the enemy team, flashing on them if needed. From here, use Q for good damage while using your ultimate to throw them all in random directions. Then start picking off the isolated targets. And that's how to play Gragas top. If this video helped you, leave a like and comment below who you want to see next.